I once believed family meant unshakable loyalty. Amanda and I built our life on promises of forever raising our daughter Kimberly in a home filled with laughter and dreams. When my mother passed, her final words were about the precious legacy of trust she had instilled in me. Never did I imagine my own wife and daughter would betray that legacy so completely. Their affair's support and disrespect cut deeper than any knife, but karma has a way of collecting debts with interest. Before I tell you how I discovered my family's ultimate betrayal, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories of triumph over betrayal. Trust me, you will want to hear how this ends. Family was everything to me. Growing up with a single mother who sacrificed everything after my father walked out taught me the value of loyalty and commitment. My mother was my rock, my moral compass, and the strongest person I knew. She worked 2 jobs to put me through school, never complaining, always encouraging me to follow my dreams of becoming an architect. Her battle with cancer 8 months ago was the hardest thing I had ever faced. As she lay in that hospital bed, she pressed her wedding ring into my palm, a family heirloom passed down for 4 generations. "This represents our family's resilience," she whispered. "One day it will belong to Kimberly. Keep our legacy of love alive." I promised her I would. I met Amanda 18 years ago in architecture school. She was brilliant, ambitious, and captivated me from the first day of class. We stayed up all night designing our dream home, falling in love over blueprints and coffee. After graduation, we married and started our life together. Within a year, Kimberly was born. I still remember holding my daughter for the first time, this tiny person who looked at me with complete trust. I vowed to give her everything. Our life seemed perfect. I worked my way up at Hartman Architecture, often passing up promotions that would require travel. Family dinners were sacred. I wanted to be there for every science project, recital, and basketball game. Kimberly was Daddy's little girl for so many years. She would sit on my lap as I explained, building designs, her eyes wide with wonder. Amanda and I had date nights every Friday, keeping our romance alive despite the demands of parenthood and career. The first signs of change were subtle. Amanda turned 38 and suddenly became obsessed with fitness. Not just casual exercise, intensive training 5 days a week with a personal trainer named Jason. Her transformation was dramatic. New clothes, new hairstyle, new friends I never met. Girls' nights became frequent, and she guarded her phone like it contained state secrets. "Everything okay?" I asked one night after she jumped when I walked into the kitchen. "Just texting with Diane about book club," she said, but I noticed she had deleted the message thread. Why would someone delete innocent book club messages? Then I noticed Kimberly, now 17, and in her senior year of high school, acting strangely protective of her mother. When Amanda was running late, Kimberly would make excuses. "Mom's probably stuck in traffic," or "her phone must be dead." They started having shopping trips and inside jokes that excluded me. When I suggested family movie nights like we used to have, there was always an excuse. "Dad, that is so lame," Kimberly would say, rolling her eyes exactly like her mother. I tried harder, planned a surprise weekend away for our anniversary, suggested father-daughter days with Kimberly. Each attempt was met with reluctance or outright rejection. I felt like a stranger in my own home. Then came that Tuesday in March. I was supposed to be in Chicago for 3 days for a client meeting. The client canceled at the last minute, so I caught an early flight home thinking I would surprise Amanda with lunch. As I pulled onto our street at 2 in the afternoon, I noticed an unfamiliar black Audi in our driveway. Something felt wrong. I parked down the block and approached quietly. Our front door was unlocked. As I stepped inside, I heard sounds from upstairs, our bedroom. My heart pounded as I climbed the stairs silently, each creak of the wood seeming to echo my racing pulse. The master bedroom door was partially open. What I saw destroyed 18 years of trust in an instant. Amanda was in our bed with a man I recognized immediately as Jason, her trainer, my wife, in our bed. In the home I had designed for our family. "What the hell is this?" I said, my voice surprisingly calm despite the hurricane inside me. They scrambled apart, Amanda clutching the sheet to her chest, her face a mask of shock and fear. "Lester, you are supposed to be in Chicago." "Clearly," I replied. Is that the only problem here? My schedule. Jason gathered his clothes, mumbling apologies, as he tried to slip past me. I stepped aside. He was not worth my anger. This was between my wife and me. After he left, Amanda's shock transformed into a bizarre offensive strategy. If you had been more emotionally available, this would not have happened, she said, tears streaming down her face. You are always working or distracted. Jason listens to me. I stared at her, unable to comprehend how she was making her betrayal my fault. How long? I asked. It just happened, she claimed. Do not lie to me. Not now. 6 months, she admitted. But it does not mean anything. It was just physical. Just physical. 18 years of marriage reduced to just physical. I packed an overnight bag and checked into a hotel. That night I stared at the ceiling, replaying our years together, wondering when love had turned to betrayal. Had I been blind? Had I failed somehow? The next day I texted Kimberly. We needed to talk father to daughter. She agreed to meet for coffee after school. I thought at least my daughter would understand my pain. I could not have been more wrong. Dad, you need to try to understand Mom's perspective, Kimberly said, stirring her caramel latte with calculated indifference. She has been unhappy for years. The words hit me like a physical blow. You knew about this. She shrugged, not meeting my eyes. For about 3 months. Mom needed someone to cover for her sometimes. I gripped my coffee cup to steady my shaking hands. You helped your mother cheat on me. Jason makes Mom happy in ways you never could, she said, as if explaining something obvious to a child. He is young, exciting, adventurous. When was the last time you and Mom did anything spontaneous? The betrayal doubled, crushing my chest. My own daughter had conspired against me. Kimberly, what your mother did, what you helped her do, was wrong. Marriage means commitment, honesty, God. Dad, she interrupted. Not everyone is stuck in the Stone Age like you and Grandma. Maybe if you were not so boring, Mom would not need someone else. I sat there speechless as my daughter gathered her things and left me sitting alone. The walk to my car felt like miles, my body numb with shock. When I returned home that evening, Amanda acted as if nothing had happened. Dinner was on the table. She chatted about neighborhood gossip. No mention of Jason, the affair, or our confrontation. It was surreal. That weekend I noticed my mother's ring was missing from the keepsake box in my office. When I asked Amanda about it, she casually mentioned she had borrowed it for Kimberly. Borrowed it. That ring is a family heirloom. My mother wanted Kimberly to have it on her wedding day. Kimberly wanted to wear it to prom next month, Amanda said. What is the big deal? She is family. I found Kimberly in her room and asked about the ring. Her response chilled me. Grandma is dead anyway. She does not need it, she said, without looking up from her phone. Besides, it is kind of outdated. That ring represents 4 generations of our family, I explained, trying to control my anger. It has deep, sentimental value. Your mother was just as boring and traditional as you, Kimberly replied. It is just a ring, Dad. Later, scrolling through Instagram, I found photos of Kimberly trying on the ring with captions mocking its vintage style and asking followers if she should upgrade the dinosaur or rock the relic. Each comment was a knife in my heart. The discoveries continued. While looking for insurance documents in our home office, I found text messages automatically synced from Amanda's phone to our shared tablet. There were hundreds between her and Kimberly discussing the affair. My daughter had lied about her whereabouts to help Amanda meet Jason. She had invited him to family events behind my back. Worst of all, they had both mocked me in group chats with Jason. Kimberly, Dad thinks Mom is at yoga, lol, Amanda. If he only knew what positions I was really practicing, Jason. Your dad seems like a decent guy, though Kimberly, decent equals boring AF. Trust me, my dad is like talking to wallpaper. I discovered Kimberly had used my credit card to buy gifts for Jason, expensive Cologne concert tickets, even a weekend bag with his initials. When I confronted Amanda, her apology focused more on being caught than actual remorse. We can fix this, she insisted. Couples therapy, a fresh start. Everyone makes mistakes, but this was not a mistake. Mistakes are accidental. This was a calculated betrayal sustained over months with my daughter as accomplice. The atmosphere at home grew increasingly hostile. Meals were silent or filled with passive-aggressive comments. I slept in the guest room researching divorce lawyers and trying to process my new reality. Every year since my mother's death, I organized a memorial dinner at her favorite restaurant. It was important to me to honor her memory. This year, Amanda and Kimberly arrived 45 minutes late, dressed as if for a club rather than a respectful family dinner. As we were seated, I noticed Jason at a nearby table exchanging glances with Amanda. They had planned this. Halfway through the meal, Kimberly announced loudly, "I hated these boring dinners with Grandma, and they are even worse now she is gone." Instead of correcting her, Amanda laughed. My wife laughed at my daughter disrespecting my dead mother. By the way, Kimberly continued, I cleaned out some of Grandma's old stuff from the attic. Those handwritten recipes and letters were taking up space, so I tossed them. My mother had spent her final months writing letters and recording family recipes for future generations. They were irreplaceable treasures I had carefully preserved. And my daughter had thrown them away like trash. I placed my napkin on the table, left enough cash to cover the bill, and walked out. Behind me, I could hear Amanda calling my name, but I did not turn back. Something had broken inside me, something that could never be repaired. For a week I isolated myself in a hotel room. I barely ate, hardly slept, and let my phone die. When I finally plugged it in, there were dozens of messages from Amanda oscillating between apology and accusation. Nothing from Kimberly. I showered, shaved, and put on my best suit. It was time to reclaim my life. My first stop was the office of Marianne Johnson, the most respected divorce attorney in the city. Her consultation fee was $500 an hour, but my future was worth every penny. Given the evidence of infidelity and the credit card fraud, Marianne said, reviewing my documents, we have a strong case for a favorable settlement. The infidelity clause in your prenuptial agreement limits spousal support considerably. I had forgotten about that clause suggested by my mother when Amanda and I married. Always protect yourself, even while hoping for the best, she had advised. My mother was still looking out for me. Next, I met with my financial advisor to protect my assets. We froze joint accounts and redirected my salary to a private account. I changed my will, removing Kimberly, and redirecting her inheritance to a scholarship fund in my mother's name. The family ring would go to my cousin's daughter, who had always shown genuine interest in our family history. When I returned home, I packed essential belongings and moved to a furnished apartment downtown. I continued paying the mortgage and utilities. I would not stoop to their level of betrayal. The following day, my lawyer served Amanda divorce papers citing infidelity with substantial evidence. I also left Kimberly a letter explaining that while I would honor my obligation to support her current education, her college fund would be significantly reduced, and she was no longer in my will. Their reaction was immediate and revealing. Amanda called screaming, "You cannot do this to me, to us. After everything we have built, you destroyed what we built," I replied calmly. "These are the consequences." Kimberly's reaction was equally telling. "You are ruining my life," she shouted when she called. "How am I supposed to go to Northwestern without my college fund? All my friends are going there. Actions have consequences," I told her. "You chose your mother's affair over our family's integrity. You mocked my mother's memory and destroyed her keepsakes. These are your choices coming home to roost." "I will tell everyone what an awful father you are," she threatened. "Tell them whatever you want. The truth will stand on its own." In the weeks that followed, I discovered Amanda had been telling our friends I was emotionally abusive to justify her affair. I methodically contacted each one, sharing evidence of her betrayal without emotion or exaggeration. Many were shocked by her deception. Some took her side regardless. I learned who my real friends were. The most surprising development was Jason's sudden disappearance from Amanda's life. Once the affair was exposed and the reality of divorce proceedings set in, he vanished. Amanda became desperate to reconcile, sending flowers to my office, waiting outside my apartment, begging for another chance. "Jason meant nothing," she insisted. "We can fix this, go to counseling." But there was nothing to fix. The marriage was dead, they had killed it. I maintained my boundaries and proceeded with the divorce, focusing on work and beginning therapy to process my grief. The first signs of Amanda's mental decline appeared about 2 months into our separation. Friends reported erratic behavior, drinking too much at social gatherings, making scene, crying uncontrollably. She lost her job as a real estate agent after showing up intoxicated to an open house. Her appearance became disheveled, her social media posts increasingly incoherent. The divorce was finalized 3 months after I discovered the affair. The infidelity clause in our prenup meant Amanda received minimal alimony for just 1 year. She was allowed to stay in the house for 6 months to arrange new living situations, but it would then be sold with proceeds divided according to our agreement. Kimberly, at 17, was technically still a minor, but would be 18 before any custody arrangements would take effect. As Amanda's facade crumbled, more truths emerged. Jason had not been her only affair. There had been others, a neighbor, a client, even the husband of her supposed friend. Her social circle abandoned her as these revelations came to light. Without my income, supporting her lifestyle, and with her reputation in tatters, she spiraled further. I received a call from the hospital on a rainy Tuesday evening. Amanda had been admitted after neighbors found her walking down the street in her nightgown, disoriented and hysterical. The doctor explained she was suffering from acute psychological distress and would need extended inpatient treatment. Despite everything, I felt a twinge of sadness for the woman I had once loved. Meanwhile, Kimberly's senior year was ending. Without the full college fund I had saved her dream, school was no longer an option. She took to social media to paint herself as the victim of a cruel father, but the sympathy was short-lived. Friends who had seen her Instagram posts mocking my mother's ring connected the dots. Those who knew of her role in covering for the affair distanced themselves. She managed to secure a partial scholarship to the state university, but had to work part-time to cover remaining expenses. According to mutual connections, she bounced between friends' couches after high school graduation, unwilling to visit her mother in the psychiatric facility and too proud to apologize to me. 6 months turned into 8. I threw myself into work, earning a promotion to senior partner at the firm. I volunteered teaching architecture to underprivileged youth on weekends. Slowly, I began to heal. The text came on a rainy Sunday morning nearly 9 months after I had moved out. "Dad, can we talk, please? I really need you." I stared at my phone, conflicted. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Another part, the father who remembered a little girl with pigtails and a gap-toothed smile, ached to respond. I agreed to meet at a coffee shop near my apartment. When Kimberly arrived, I barely recognized her. Her designer clothes had been replaced by worn jeans and a faded sweatshirt. She had lost weight, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. She slid into the seat across from me, hands wrapped around her coffee mug as if seeking warmth. "Thank you for coming," she said softly. "I did not think you would." "I almost did not," I admitted. She nodded, eyes fixed on her coffee. "I deserve that. I deserve worse." We sat in silence for a long moment before she continued. "I messed up, Dad. Worse than messed up. I betrayed you in the worst possible way, and I have regretted it every single day." "What changed?" I asked, not ready to accept her apology. "Everything," she whispered. "After you left, Mom fell apart. But before that, I found out Jason was not the only one. There were others. Mom had been manipulating me for years, turning me against you, making me think you were the problem. I believed her because it was easier than seeing the truth." Tears slid down her face. "I lost everything. My friends found out what I did and want nothing to do with me. I could not afford the dorm, so I have been staying on couches until people get tired of me. Last week I slept in my car for 3 nights because I had nowhere to go." She pulled something from her pocket, a crumpled photo. "I saved this. It is the only picture of Grandma I have left." It was a photo of my mother holding Kimberly as a baby, both smiling at the camera. "I am so sorry about her ring, Dad, about the recipes and letters. I was stupid and cruel, and I would give anything to take it back. Those things are gone," I said, feeling the familiar ache of that loss. "I know," she whispered, "and I have to live with that. But I do not want to lose you too. I will do anything to make this right. I know I do not deserve your forgiveness or help, but I am asking anyway. I want to go back to school, to make something of myself, to make you and Grandma proud someday." I studied my daughter's face, searching for signs of manipulation, but finding only genuine remorse. "Have you visited your mother?" I asked. Kimberly nodded. "Twice. The doctors say she had a psychotic break. She's on medication now, but she's still not stable. She barely recognized me the second time." I sighed deeply. "I cannot just welcome you back as if nothing happened, Kimberly. Trust once broken is not easily repaired." "I know," she said, wiping her tears. "I just want a chance to try." I considered her request. The anger that had burned so hot had cooled, leaving behind the ash of disappointment and the embers of parental love that had never fully extinguished. "I will help with your education," I finally said. "On conditions: you get therapy, you maintain honest communication, you demonstrate respect, not just in words, but actions, and you understand that rebuilding trust takes time." Relief washed over her face. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for not giving up on me completely." My own journey toward healing had been difficult, but essential. Weekly therapy sessions helped me process the grief of losing not only my marriage but my idea of family. I had reconnected with old friends and made new ones who valued honesty and loyalty. My promotion at work recognized years of dedication, and I had begun designing my own home a fresh start. I visited Amanda once at the hospital. She was heavily medicated, a shadow of the vibrant woman I had married. "I am sorry," she said, her words slurring slightly, "for everything." "I know," I replied, and found I meant it. Seeing her there, stripped of pretense and pride, I felt the last of my anger dissolve into pity. We would never be together again, but I no longer wished her ill. The most important lesson I learned through this ordeal was that respect must be earned, not demanded. Both Amanda and Kimberly had assumed my support was unconditional, my presence guaranteed. They took advantage of my loyalty without offering their own in return. Only when those things were withdrawn did they recognize their value. I also learned that family is not defined solely by blood. The friends who stood by me, the colleagues who respected me, the students whose faces lit up when they mastered a new concept, they became my chosen family, bound by mutual respect rather than obligation. Today, Kimberly is in her second semester at community college, working to transfer to a 4-year program. Our relationship remains a work in progress. She joins me monthly at the cemetery to place flowers on my mother's grave. Small steps toward redemption. As for me, I am dating again, cautiously. I recently designed a memorial garden at the local college in my mother's name, funded by what would have been Kimberly's inheritance. Life continues, reshaped by pain, but not defined by it. If my story teaches anything, it is that we must value those who value us. Sometimes losing what you thought you needed opens the door to what you truly deserve. And no matter how dark the betrayal there is, always light waiting on the other side, if you have the courage to walk toward it. Have you ever had to make the difficult decision to cut toxic family members from your life? How did you rebuild afterward? Let me know in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more journeys of resilience and recovery. Do not forget to share this video with someone who might need to hear that it is okay to choose self-respect over destructive relationships. Thank you for listening, and remember, your worth is not determined by those who fail to see it.